Alright, hey YouTube, Nate here. So as many of you know, the iPhone 4 just recently came out. Now with every iPhone there seems to be some new milestone, some new feature or benchmark that Apple tries to meet. And with the iPhone 4 this is no different. We now have the voice to face-to-face communication, which is something that we've seen on some phones overseas but hasn't really caught on in America yet. And it's hard to deny that the fact that now that Apple has done it, there's a pretty good chance it might catch on and other phones might try it too. Now the iPhone 4 is still young and it's not very well known yet if this technology is going to kind of be used a lot, if it's going to be popular, if people even like it. Chances are it'll be something that people will use, but who knows where it's going to go from here. When you watch movies in the future, it's hard to deny that a lot of the times the phone technology is face to face, and it's usually pretty cheesy because a lot of these movies are older and they didn't really know what's going to happen, obviously. But it seems like in movies, for communicating, it's always been face to face. Now, to me, there's a few problems with that I think might kind of be annoying if this would in fact catch on. One of those is when you're talking on the phone, this is just more comfortable to me, especially in cases where I'm walking down the street or whatever. I mean in some cases even driving, I'm probably not supposed to, and I try not to, but there's always those few instances where I will answer the phone when I'm driving. And obviously, if face-to-face communication is the only way, that's going to be even worse for people when they're driving. And yeah, not only that, but like I said, if you're just walking down the street, you're not going to want to be going like this while you're walking. You're going to hit something, hit someone, run over a kid, who knows. But really, the face-to-face thing is nice in the comforts of your home, but I do like that Apple does have the option of switching between. And on that note, you can only do it, in fact, when you're in Wi-Fi, which kind of does limit you to an area where you will probably be sitting or you're not really movement at all. On that note, phones now, cell phones seem to be catching on like wildfire to the point that a lot of people are dropping their landlines even. And so I think for the future of phones, landlines are going to be gone. I think we're still going to have VoIP calls via Skype, maybe even Magic Jack. I don't know how popular Magic Jack is. I don't know how many people actually use it. But I think VoIP services like that will catch on a little bit more, and really I think we'll be able to get rid of our landlines completely to the point that we probably even tear them down eventually in the future. It'll probably end up being kind of like the switch over to digital that TV had. It'll be kind of a forced thing that the government will put on people, but I do think that eventually VoIP calls and cellular calls are all we're going to have. I mean, it does make sense. The technology is cheaper. It creates less line use. We'll have only the internet service that will also provide the phone service as well, and also the cell service, which also provides internet. So we have these two different internet things. And I think maybe even eventually we're going even farther into the future. We can probably even drop the lines for the internet that aren't cellular, because eventually the cell service is probably going to get fast enough, strong enough to the point that it can be our only means of communicating, and that'll also provide the internet to computers and everything. I do think this is a possibility, and like I said, it's not for a long time after my lifetime, probably after my kids' lifetimes, maybe even after my grandchildren's. I think this is going to be a slow process, but I do think the future of communication is going to change drastically. Maybe even my lifetime, some small changes will happen. Even now I hear more and more that people are starting to stop using their landlines, and who knows, maybe even when I have my own house, I won't even need a landline by that point, because it seems like people rely on their cell phones as a means of communication, and it seems like for homes, usually you're calling to contact one person in particular, and with cell phones, it's easier to just call that phone first, because that's a guarantee that they'll answer most likely, because it is their phone. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. That's where I think the cell phone industry is heading. I think that we're on our way, obviously. Like I said, Apple just did this voice-to-voice, face-to-face, I don't know, I keep saying that, face-to-face communicating. I will be honest, if I do ever get an iPhone 4 or even the iPhone generation after that, I don't see myself using face-to-face very often. I think it's kind of just a little bit of a gimmicky thing at this point, but like I said, I do think it's going to catch on. I think we will use it, but at this point, like I said, I don't see myself using it. I think at this point it's just like an iChat or a Skype conversation, the face-to-face calls, which I do use those, so I mean, that's the thing, I think I probably will use it, but obviously I'm not going to use it just when I want to get a small conversation done or just a simple phone conversation. They're for different things, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, Apple does give you the option to do either one still, obviously. They'd be crazy if they didn't, and like I said, it's only on Wi-Fi that you can do the face-to-face, which does still pretty much make it like a Skype face-to-face call or the iChat face-to-face communicating in. At this point, Apple is just kind of laying low with this technology. It's there. Who knows where it's going to go from here? And that's what I want to hear from you guys. What do you think the future of the telephone communication world is? And just leave a video response, comment, whatever. Video responses would be great. I just want to hear what you guys think. Obviously, this is a long time in the making, but I'm curious to see what you guys think the future for phones is. So please leave a video response, comment, whatever you guys can. Thanks for watching.